All right, thanks everyone for being here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mike Abrams. I'm going to be moderating today. We've got three wonderful guests here. So to my right, we have the driver of the 98 car. You're going to be starting in the third position, the defending champion of the Indy 500, driving for Andretti Autosport's Alexander Rossi. Next to Alex, we have the driver of the number 4 car, starting in the 26th position. This is your 4th Indy 500, driving for AJ Foyt, Conor Daly. And last but not least, I could do the introduction, but I think you can do it better. I know you have a historic way of introducing yourself. So.
Hi, I'm Ric Flair. Host of the Snake Pit.
emceeing the Snake Pit this year. So let's start with an easy one. There's a lot of people here that probably are less familiar with the Indy 500. So for all three of you, what's the 500 mean to you and the month of May in Indianapolis in general?
I'll go first. Well, the 500 for me is my home race. Born and raised in Indy, so I love it for that reason. It's always been sort of the Super Bowl, the World Series, everything combined for me. It's just the biggest thing that we have. And it's a month long, so it's awesome. I love it. Would mean the most to win that for me, as for any driver, I think. But yeah, just an amazing event. And if you haven't been, for sure, I'd say give it a chance someday because it'll surprise you.
Alex, what about you?
Yeah, like Conor said, I mean, it's the biggest not only race in the world, but biggest single day sporting event in the world as well. So it's a pretty special experience, and as a racing driver, it's one of the three main events that you want to win. So a lot of effort goes into it from all of us, from all of the teams, and it all comes to a head here in a couple of days.
Now, Rick, will this be your first 500? Have you been before?
This will be my first 500, but actually Indianapolis is where I was in my first WrestleMania 8, against Randy Savage. So I've always been a fan of Indy and Peyton and Larry Bird, and it's a great sports city. And it's not that I couldn't have gone; I just probably my schedule didn't allow it. But I'm really looking forward to it. And when I heard when this opportunity became available, I just said, "Guys, please figure me in." And then I've had a great time today with these gentlemen, and they're the most courageous. They are the most courageous athletes alive. And no, I'm not going for a ride with Marco Andretti. Okay, sorry. Don't even suggest it, please.
You got to do it, man.
No,
you got to do it.
Nada. I'll have a heart attack, and he'll have one too. That'll be all we need. Where's the H? Upside down.
Now, Conor, you mentioned you're an Indiana native. So what's the entire month of May like in Indiana from before you were a driver to now as you are a racer in the 500?
I mean, it's always our biggest thing. We have, even downtown Indianapolis, they put all of the drivers' last names on street signs all around the city. So it's one of those things where there's billboards everywhere, there's signs everywhere. I mean, it's our biggest event by a long way. Even when we had the Super Bowl, the Indy 500 still just blows it out of the water, just for sheer magnitude. The amount of people that are there, just even over the weekend in qualifying, last weekend in qualifying. Thousands of people there. We have Carb Day coming up on Friday. 100,000 people there. Race day, obviously, over 300,000, 350,000 people there. So it's just massive, and the city really embraces it, which is really cool, and it makes us feel special as well.
So, Alex, I know you were a big football fan. What got you into racing at a young age?
My father, he was just a motorsports fan. He went to races with his father, and when I was 10 years old, he took me to Las Vegas for reasons that most people don't go to Las Vegas, but it was to do a 3-day go-kart school, and it was supposed to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and fell in love with the sport and started racing go-karts, and here we are at Google. So, right on.
And Conor, your dad was a professional driver, so was there ever any doubt in your mind that you were going to go into race driving?
I guess not. Yeah, he was. He did some stuff in race cars, and then moved to Indiana, and then did.
What did he do?
Yeah, he just circulated. He circulated for many times, and he met my mom when he came to do the Indy 500, and he never left. So that was. And then I came to be, and then he stopped racing, and sadly, I got into it, and I think he was forced to stay in it himself. So it's just a family thing for us. We love it. He loves it still. I love it. Very lucky to be doing it. I mean, there's not a lot of people who who can really live their dream, and that's what I'm doing. So it's cool.
And Rick, you're widely regarded as the greatest professional wrestler of all time. So,
Thank you.
and a Hall of Famer. So,
I'm so glad you didn't say one of, okay?
the greatest.
Just kidding.
What's exciting you most about being part of the festivities of the 500?
Well, I was just going to ask these guys. I'm thinking about it when we have WrestleMania. The 500 is our WrestleMania, and we bring. I know when we just came out of Orlando, and we brought like $50 million worth of money, or maybe 60, into the community. And I'm just thinking to myself, how much money comes along with the race? And I'm not talking about prize money for the drivers. I'm talking about the economy. I'm sure every hotel is sold out. I better find out where I'm staying now. And it's not going to be the Courtyard. Don't do Courtyards or taxis. So, but I'm just thinking, my God, it's got to be overwhelming. And Indianapolis is such a great city, my God. Great bars, great nightlife, nice people. Indiana's a good state, period.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
No, it's the truth.
I like it too.
We got to work on the Indiana basketball team.
Yeah, we do.
Maybe bring Bobby
And,
Knight
I mean,
back.
the football team's not great either, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest.
All right, let's change subjects. So
Well, you're from Indiana, aren't you?
I am from Indiana.
Oh, yeah. So that doesn't feel good, does it?
So let's talk about last year's race, the 100th running. It was a historic race. Kind of, can you speak to what leading up to the 100th running was like, and all the hype around this monumental race?
Well, it was cool, that's for sure. And I guess he enjoyed it a little bit more than the rest of us. But yeah, I mean, the 100th was cool to be a part of that. I mean, there's not many events that are in their 100th running, so it was really cool to just be a part of history, start the next 100 years. Obviously now this year with the 101st, so incredible what the city did. As he was saying, it's the state of Indiana. It's huge for Indiana, the economy, the people, everything. So it was awesome for us. I mean, we sold it out, which is, I mean, that's a lot of people. So it was really cool. And then a young American gentleman was the winner, so that helped for just America, and that was good. So I like that. I mean, I had a horrible time, but that doesn't matter.
Well, Alex, let's talk about your victory. You won using a fairly bold fuel strategy. What was going through your mind, went into the decision, knowing that you were running out of fuel on the last few laps?
Well, we really didn't have a choice because of some scenarios that happened during the race. We had to go off sequence to everyone else, and it put us in a position to be in some pretty severe fuel saving at the end, to the point where I actually ran out of fuel on the last lap and the engine was off and I coasted across the line. So don't necessarily want to have to go through that again, because it was pretty chaotic for everyone involved. But it was, when you're in the car, you're just focused on the job you need to do, and you take it one lap at a time. I mean, everyone in their respective professions, when you get involved in something, it's a subconscious thing that happens. So it's the same thing for us. And you just try and execute and maximize everything that you have.
And as defending champion, you've got to do some pretty cool experiences, shooting at an intermission at a Blackhawks game, throwing out the first.
It's not that cool.
Throwing out the first pitch at a Cubs
Also
game.
not that cool.
What's been your favorite thing you've done as defending champion, non-racing related?
Well, this, obviously. I mean, you think about Google as like this one page of stuff. You don't think of it as this entire city block. So it's pretty cool to be here, and it's a pretty awesome experience.
I just think of The Internship, the movie. That's my favorite movie. I love it.
Anyway, for me, the highlight was the ESPYs in June, and it was because I got to meet Cam Newton, LeBron, Kobe. I mean, sports idols and icons, right? Which is pretty spectacular. And to share an evening with them, honoring their kind of success over the year, was pretty special.
Are you a LeBron man?
Oh yeah.
All right, man. Me
He's
too.
the king, isn't he?
I had to tell the commissioner. I had to give him the heads up, man. How he's not the MVP. I'll
Last
never
game
know.
wasn't great though for him. Was it 18 points?
Yeah, but that's okay. You'll watch him
We'll be
tonight.
all right, yeah.
I wouldn't want to be there tonight. I mean, I wanted to be, but
You're here.
think
with
about
us.
that. I can't go to LeBron tonight because I'm here today. I can't make the flight, so. But I'm glad to be here. I want to be on the good side of Google. God only knows I've exhausted me a couple times. I just Googled you. Okay, really? That's good. That's nice. Does that really happen? No. So.
Allegedly.
Yeah, look. Oh, God.
So let's change gears to talk about the snake pit. Conor, being the Indiana native, I'll let you, for everyone that's not familiar with it, can you kind of give an explanation of what it is and how it's evolved the last few years?
Absolutely. The snake pit was big in the 70s, I believe. That I wasn't alive at that time, but they used to like burn couches and have crazy stuff go on there. Obviously, a drinking festival, but there was also the Indy 500 going on at the same time. And it sort of went away-ish. I think people discovered like to be more civilized. But then now we're bringing it back, obviously, because it's all about a good EDM rave these days. And so now, the last few years, we've had incredible electronic music artists playing from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the afternoon. It's like our own music festival inside of Turn 3. We fit like 30, 40,000 people inside of Turn 3, and there's still a race going on, and there's still 239,000 permanent seats sold out for the race. And a lot of people don't even know that there's a race going on if they're in the snake pit, because obviously they're upside down, wasted. But it's a great time from what I've heard.
Hate that.
Yeah, right. And Ric's gonna be there, and he's gonna be hooting and hollering. And
But you'll be there as well.
Lead
won't
the
you?
party.
yeah, Ric's gonna be the MC. I'm gonna be there for 28 minutes, I think, and that's all I can do from like 9:45 to about 10:15 ish. But I love that. I love that music. We've got Zedd, Marshmello, RL Grime, Adventure Club, and Action Bronson playing this year, so that should be a decent lineup. And yeah, it's changed massively, but it's really cool. I mean, it's an actual like music festival, which is something we don't have in Indiana at all. But going on right in the center of the massive race as well. So it's incredible, and I think Ric's gonna really enjoy it. He's gonna be the leader of it all. We need a good leader in the snake pit.
I'm sort of going to try. Ooh.
Yeah.
But what I'm looking forward to, because I didn't realize that both these gentlemen are single and they live together, is if my fiance will let me,
well.
I'm going to the after party.
Let me clarify. The live, yeah.
You guys share a mansion.
No.
No.
If a mansion
Okay,
is
I-
how many square footage is that?
He
17.
he rents a room.
I rent a room at
Okay.
his house. Sorry.
Okay.
That's what I do.
What I was saying
but I'm
is
single and I'm ready to party.
I
yeah.
want to. Are you married?
No.
Oh, I didn't think so.
Yeah.
I want to go to the after party. Are you kidding?
Yep. Well, the plan is for you to recruit for the after party in the snake pit.
Well, I can do that.
Yeah. My man.
Hey, you.
There we go. Now the after party is going to be really
Give me
good.
some keys and I'll just pass them out.
15. 15 room keys.
I'll cover
That's
you,
it.
brother.
Yeah,
Don't
there
worry
you go.
about
Thank
that. I can know how to throw a party.
So, Ric, you are hosting the snake pit party. Do you have anything special planned for it?
No, I'm just excited. I mean, I didn't realize. I'm not never having gone. I didn't even know what the snake pit was. I'm just a big fan of the Indianapolis race. I'm from NASCAR country, but to me, it's just totally two different things. And like I said, I mean, our NASCAR guys, they drive fast and hard too, but there's a lot more protection, especially since Dale got killed. They got the helmets and they're locked in pretty good. But these guys, man, 230 miles an hour on an open cockpit. I mean, geez, I've been in F-16, and I didn't like that. But just it's amazing. I'm just really looking forward to it and enjoying the experience. And my fiance Keith, you forgot Keith Urban's going to be there. She's flipped already. Yes, I'm going to get you backstage, okay?
Yeah, it's a party the whole weekend. Keith Urban's there Saturday.
Yeah.
So, Alex and Conor, I know you guys are going 230 miles an hour, but do you feel a different energy when you come around turn 3 and fly by that party?
Absolutely. It smells a little different, but yeah, no, don't you remember that?
What energy do you have?
I love it. I just because I know what's going on there, and I'm excited about it. You guys might think differently, but I love it. I love it.
And you made a surprise.
You can't really see it. Like you could see, like it's hard to like when we're racing, we don't see anything, but like except for what's going on around us, obviously. But that sounded terrible. But it's on the pace lap, like when you leave the grid for the first lap, that's when you and you're going just, we're doing 100 miles an hour as our pace car speed, and we're just like, but 100 is really slow, like for us, so we're like inching along, and you see the people. I think that's the most incredible thing. You just see this entire facility just full. I mean, what did you think that was? I mean, that was for your first one, so was that surprising? Was you like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, it was awesome.
And Conor, you made a surprise visit last year in full suit and helmet to the Snake Pit.
I did.
How was that? And were you the only person fully clothed at that point?
Yes, I had 3 layers of fireproof clothing on at an 80-degree event, rave, crazy day party. I went up into the crowd, and people started spraying me with cheap beer, and I was like covered in Busch Light by the time I got back to my strategy meeting for the race. But it was awesome. Like, it was so cool. Like I will be there again. And I might wear like a poncho this time though, because it's frowned upon to show up to a motor race smelling of alcohol, I think. But it was a great time.
So let's switch gears to this year's race. Let's talk a little bit about qualifications. You guys had some challenging weather, limiting the opportunities. Alex, you had a pretty rough day 1 by having to sit in the car while they cleaned up the track after a wreck. What goes through your mind as you're sitting there, I think, unknown what's going on, and you really only have only one attempt on that day?
The main thing is just making sure that Sebastian was okay, and that's where all your attention goes to. You don't really care about anything else at that point because, all of us are competitors, but very close at the same time. So it was a really big hit, and when you see that, you don't really quite know what the immediate outcome is. So once you find out he's okay, then you kind of just go through your routine, your process, and you go out and do what you need to do.
In day 2, you guys had some better weather, but you still didn't have as much practice time as you probably wanted. How do you guys make adjustments on the fly with really, again, one attempt to qualify with limited practice?
I mean, it's really difficult because to go out there and really push these cars at the limit. I mean, he was going a little bit quicker than I was at 231, but we qualified at like 226.5, and that still felt like that was a really difficult run for me because we haven't really been able to get our car very comfortable the whole time. And when you're doing that speed, you feel everything. You feel everything in the car. I mean, if you have one moment, you end up in bad shape really, really quickly. So it's challenging, but in the end, it's qualifying for Indy. And for 4 laps, you have to go out there and eliminate every emotion, every thought, other than doing the best 4 laps that you can. Because it is very important. I mean, the race is obviously, what we all care about, but it's, qualifying is also, the further up the grid you start, the better. But it's one of those things that, in the end, the race is all that matters. But qualifying, I think, just from a history standpoint at the Indy 500 is always very cool and very important.
So speaking a little bit of the history, you guys both drive for teams with Indy 500 legends. Conor, you with AJ, and then Alex, you with the Andretti's. What's it like as they help you prepare to have that much history and that much knowledge on your team? And then what's it also like just having a famous boss, celebrities around the track?
Yeah, I mean, driving for Michael is a pretty huge privilege. And I was very fortunate as a rookie last year to come in and have that amount of depth and knowledge to rely upon. And not only did I have Michael and Mario, but my car was actually a part of another team, which was owned by another driver named Brian Herta. and they merged with Andretti, and so I had Brian as well. And I mean, that's just a wealth of information and knowledge to kind of sponge off of them, and they're very successful. And my teammates as well. I mean, Marco Andretti, Ryan Hunter-Reay are hugely successful at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So I had a lot of very helpful people around me, and it was great. And Michael's a very, very cool guy to work for.
And AJ is just old school American hero. He's still shouting and cursing and wishing he was still in the car at 82 years old, but he's awesome. I mean, he's still passionate about it. He still wants to win, even though he's not in the car. But we're trying our best for him because it'd be cool to get him back to victory lane. Because he's just a badass dude. So it's awesome.
So there's a lot of ways to win the Indy 500, also a lot of ways to lose it. And I think for the novice fans out here, there's probably not a true understanding of all the technology to teammates to everything in between that goes into winning. What goes into having a good winning strategy for the 500?
Fuel strategy, right, Alex?
It's one of the ways, yeah. I mean, a lot. I mean, let's take Andretti Autosport, for example. There's 200 people that work on the program. So it's a very big operation. You have everything from your normal day-to-day mechanics, engineers, to sim engineers, to guys that are in the wind tunnel and the shaker rig. And it's a big program to run race cars. And as much as it appears to be an individual sport with the drivers getting most of the attention, it's probably one of the biggest team sports in the world, because you can't, it doesn't matter how good of a race car driver you are, and Conor can probably talk to this a little bit, but if you don't have the equipment to win, there's nothing you can do about it. So.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, the strategy is to win any way you can, right? So there's multiple ways to do it. Some obviously, like, he has 200 people on their team working. We have about 25 on our two cars, so it's a little different. But there's still, we all still go out and race and compete against each other at a very high level. But it's a challenging sport. There are a lot of really incredible talents that we race against, and a lot of really good teams. So with a lot of really good, smart engineers. So it's tough no matter what, but that's why we do it. That's why we compete.
Since we are here at Google, talk to us a little bit about the data that you guys accumulate during practice rounds and the engineers that help you to formulate your strategy on race day.
Data is everything. We have sensors on every part of the car. It's streaming live to the pit stand so our engineers can look at it. It's very important for us as well, especially at the Indy 500, because everything is so crucial. The thousandth of every degree, every temperature of the tire, every sensor, all the aero data that we see, supremely important. So we rely on technology a lot, and it's one of those things that is always evolving. So it's cool to see the next level of what we get every year.
The hardest thing, I think, is correlating real-life data to sim data. So because the Speedway it's all about finding a balance between downforce and drag and how much grip you want to take away from the car to go quicker in a straight line. There's a lot of different aerodynamic builds that you can have with different packages of components and parts. And wind tunnel and sim data often gives you a direction, but there's quite a few times where it's wrong. And so you're trying to spend a lot of time correlating it back to reality. And that's where a lot of the differences are made, I think, at Indianapolis specifically among teams. You're measuring that with, everything from load cells to pitot tubes to strain gauges. I mean, it's a lot of very, very involved things that is fascinating to be a part of and cool to work with every day.
So the million-dollar question, how are the cars running for the 101st running?
Sweet. I'm pretty happy.
Less than ideal, but I got a positive outlook on life. So the glass is half full, guys. It's going to be a great time. We're coming from the back. It's going to be a great story. And that's what I'm excited about. Rick's going to be there in victory lane with the milk, and we're going to have a great time. So yeah, I'm excited about that. You gonna drink the milk with me if we win?
And I'm going to kiss the bricks, too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm doing all that.
Yeah, I love it.
And Rick, you have a 30 for 30 coming out this year.
Yes.
Is there anything that's going to surprise
I
people?
don't know. I'm worried a lot of people are going to think that it's fantasy. I've led a pretty interesting life, as you can Google and see. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's going to be almost 2 hours, I think. So comes out September 8th. So I'm excited. It's been 2 years in the making. There's a lot of people involved in it. So, I'm excited about it. There's obviously, it discusses some ups and lows, which everybody unfortunately experiences in life. You're too young to have experienced anything like that. But, there's good things and bad things. But I think for the most part, I'm excited because I'm the first wrestler that I've ever done anything like that with. And everybody I know, like I'm very close to Evander Holyfield. Anybody that's done a 30 for 30 has raised their income stream major on the weekends for speaking engagements and stuff like that. So bring it, baby. Yeah, I got 4 ex-wives. I'm the only guy alive to pay alimony to 3 women at one time. Yep, and I'm still humping guys out. I mean, I meant humping the road, working. I meant, excuse me. Yeah, excuse me. So, yeah.
My hero right here.
Yeah, really.
So on that note, we're going to open up to audience questions. While there is a mic over here, and while people are lining up for questions, I had a couple of fun ones that we wanted to ask. So for Alex and Conor, if you were a wrestler, what would your wrestling name be, and what would your go-to move be?
Randy Cool. I think that's what my name. That's actually my name. My engineer gave it to me last year because it's my name, just with what is that? An anagram? Is that where your different letters that you can create words? I don't know. I didn't.
Don't
go
use
to
words you
college.
don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't go.
From now on, you're Randy Cool.
Randy Cool.
Sure. I like that's a cool name.
There you go. See?
Hey, Randy Cool. Hey, sweetheart. Come
Are you saying Ric Flair's not your real name?
Oh man.
Ric Flair? It's not my real name. I never changed it
Who
legally.
would have thought?
But you can call me Slick. My friends call me Nate.
Yeah. Nature boy right here.
And Rick, for Alex and Conor, can you do one of your patented hype videos for them for the 101st running, so they have something to think about right when they get in the car?
Oh, yeah. Hey, boys. Hey, to Alexander, Rossi, and Conor Daly. This Sunday, Indianapolis 500, man, we'll be limousine riding. We'll be jet flying. We'll be kiss stealing. We'll be wheeling dealing. And you guys will be going 200 miles an hour around the track. And I'll be going, woo! And to the winner goes the spoils. And then after the damn race is over, we are going to party with these gentlemen right here, Alexander and Conor, all night long. Woo! Don't be afraid to live the legend, ladies. Woo! 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 And if you win the race, one of you guys are buying the drinks.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not picking up
I'm now
tab that
motivated.
night.
Yeah, I am motivated.
That
was amazing.
Thanks so much, guys, for coming out and speaking with us. I really appreciate it. Very cool experience. So my dad is a huge car fan and also actually got to spend some time with some of the pro wrestlers back in the down circuit, doing some philanthropic work, and had nothing but great things to say about him. So I grew up, spending some time watching cars go around and wrestling as well. I just want to know, what's the experience like being able not only to live out your dream, but also continue to see your sports evolve and get a new fan base? And where do you see the general health of both sports right now?
Well, first of all, I think it's what I'm happy about is that I've been able through 4 decades to attract what I call cross-demographic appeal, where I like now if I'm actually making friends that are in the IndyCar drivers that I've never had an opportunity to do before. And, the baseball players, I interact with them a lot. And Sergio Brown, who was with the Colts, put me on the map with the keeping the alligators down thing, So I've just had a lot of fun, and it's another experience for me. And it's the the state of wrestling right now, it's different than what I did for a living. But my daughter's in it; she loves it, and the WWE is a fabulous place to work. That the kids they work hard, but they make a lot of money, and they put a lot more time and consideration into the well-being, the health, the concussion stuff, and like that now because of all the injuries. You know, it's choreographed, but it's a rough physical sport, and we have 5 guys that broken necks in the last 3 years. So it's tough, but it's to me, it's not. It wouldn't be nearly as tough as driving a car 220 or 30 miles an hour. I just think I don't get that. But I'm honored that I'm in the presence of 2 guys that do that for a living, and spending the whole day with Conor, which I have. He thrives on it. So it's nice to wake up and be that excited. I was very excited about wrestling every day too, but I wasn't driving 220 miles an hour to get to the building.
Yeah, we drove a little slower to get here. I mean, I obviously love doing what I do, so very lucky to do that. As for the health of our sport, I think it needs some help still. Obviously, we had after the split, and when we kind of got reunited back in like 08, 09, I always said it would probably be like 10 years before we'd really start to pick up traction again as like one open wheel racing series, which next year would be 10 years since the split. So I think we got a lot of momentum last year through the 100th running. I think we've had really great racing. Our product is not the problem. It's just a lot of things to try and get it onto people's televisions. You know what I mean? TV ratings are king right now. So that's very important for us. But I think this year as well, we have Fernando Alonso competing in the Indy 500, which is massive for the sport in general. And our races just keep getting better. We have some incredible races, and I think that's good for us. We're just kind of, I think we're on the up and up. We're technically the only form of racing that's actually going in an upward trend when it comes to ratings and stuff like that. So that's nice.
You think that Ashley Judd will ask me for an autograph?
Oh, she's not around anymore.
She's definitely not around.
She got divorced.
I'm not going then. She got divorced?
Yeah.
Did she really?
She's not with Dario anymore.
She's single then.
Yeah.
Just
She
kidding.
might be there, though.
Just kidding. I stood next to Brooke Shields one night at the Ritz here in New York. And I mean, I'm a big fan, right? I was just close to her, like as close as you and I are, right? For an hour, right? And she never looked at me one time, never said nothing, right?
That's the
so
worst.
the guy goes to me that's with the company, goes, "Babe, she doesn't watch wrestling." I said, "Watch wrestling? I'm Ric Flair. What the hell?" And she still ain't said hi to me yet.
That's the way most girls do
I know.
with me, too.
Just ignored me. Just turned her back to me.
Same. It
Jesus.
happens all the time.
Meanwhile, everybody there from all the guys love me, but Brooke not so much. I mean,
yeah, thank you all for being here. My question is for Ric Flair. What was your favorite match that you were in at Madison Square Garden?
gosh, you want to know something? I tell people this, and I was never, I'm from the South, right? And I really enjoyed, obviously, working for WWE, but I don't think I was ever like a big card. Does that make sense? I mean, and first of all, I was older when I got to wrestle them more frequently. But probably the best match I ever had was back in the '90s when I wrestled Hulk for the first time. That was like, man, we call him the Golden Goose, man. I've only wrestled a few people in my life that were over. I mean, like with the public, like Hulk, and he was selling vitamins and drinking milk, and I was chasing women and drinking beer. It was magic. The perfect bad guy and the perfect good guy. But man, wherever we went, we sold out everywhere. It was amazing, all over the world. I mean, I wrestled him in Tokyo and we sold out. So it's just been a great experience. I mean, he's a phenomenal guy. He's been through a lot personally, not just as we know with one issue, but health-wise, he's had 7 back operations and he's in a lot of pain. So I talk to him all the time. He's doing much better. He's in good shape financially, and I just wish the best for him. But wrestling him in the Garden was something special.
Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm an Indiana native too, and I'm really happy
sweet.
you guys
Right
came
on.
out. Yeah, So first, I had the original Ric Flair doll, the action figure. He's the only one that ever beat Optimus Prime in a fight.
What did he say?
You were the only one to beat Optimus Prime in a fight.
Oh, yeah.
And a doll.
But just like, given like the change of like how, media is, do you have anything you would offer these guys from the days pre-internet when you got famous before YouTube to kind of like propel them advice-wise?
These gentlemen here?
Yes.
Well, first of all, I think it's just in their character a little bit that I know them, but they're, obviously raised by great parents, and I don't think that they're never going to be put into situations that where I failed. I could have never. I would if this was the '80s, I wouldn't be allowed on the street, much less, because we pretty much did what we wanted back then, Anything I said on TV, I was pretty much doing. So, yeah. See you at the Marriott tonight, 18 to 28, no boyfriends, no husbands. Come on. Kind of like your gig if you win the race, okay? I'll handle the after party.
Gee, I hope so. Wow.
But no, it would have killed me. I'm on a very short leash with my fiance. You notice she's right here. I'm not allowed out of sight. Come here. And why did you ask her if she was married? I don't know why I asked her. That's normal. Not going to happen again.
I have a couple of questions. For Alexander first, I know you have Formula One experience, and I'm just curious to know how you think that played into your victory last year, if you learned anything that you brought with you. And the other one is, I'm curious to get your takes on Team Penske's performance over the weekend, because it wasn't fabulous.
Look who's paying attention. Right on. All right. So first question is, Formula One is the pinnacle of motorsports in Europe. IndyCar is the pinnacle of motorsports in the U.S. And I think that any of the top drivers in either championship that go to the other will be successful, because to win an IndyCar, you have to have an innate level of skill and talent and competitiveness. Same in Formula One. So there's a lot of I think that any of the guys can drive either of the cars. There's actually not much crossover in terms of technique, but just the general understanding of how to extract performance from a car will remain the same no matter what you drive, whether it's a Honda Civic, in town, or, a Formula One car and an Indy car. So I think that it wasn't necessarily just Formula One experience, it was just motorsports experience that gave me that opportunity. And then in terms of Penske, my engineer actually used to work for Ed Carpenter Racing, who was the only Chevy that was really competitive. And he looks at their aero configuration and is just like, they're completely wrong. Not even remotely close to being correct. So it's very interesting, because they obviously have a huge amount of resources and have been very successful there and have all the time in the wind tunnel that they need. But it was kind of what I touched on earlier. Their correlation to real life data clearly isn't matching up very well. And they literally are just taking away downforce to add drag. And it's just the last thing you want to do, which is why we see them out of the top 20. So it's very strange, but I'm not complaining about it, because it's 5 less cars that I have to race against, and yeah.
Well, we'll see on Sunday. I don't drive for Team Penske, clearly, but what he's saying when it comes to aerodynamics is it really is interesting, because the Chevrolet package is struggling for sure, but you wouldn't expect Penske to be struggling. And then, as he said, the Ed Carpenter Racing cars nearly at the pole. I mean, one is started second, and that blows my mind as well, because we were
consistently.
We were running
like Joseph was.
I know that, which was incredible, and we were running like literally almost exactly the same topside downforce as they were, but we were going like 4 mile an hour slower. So it's like they're doing something really good, and the Carpenter cars, and then Roger I think is probably frustrated with their whole program right now. But I mean, it's Penske, so like it's the Indy 500 and Penske. No matter where they start, they're gonna be probably up at the front at some point. I would have to say at least one or two of them, without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, Will was
quick,
fast,
right?
Yeah, so.
Yeah. But even like I think Joseph obviously qualified second last year, so he knows what he's doing around there, and Elio is going for 4 as usual. So we'll see what happens. He's brave too. He's been running the 2 tire ramps. I don't know if you've been watching, but yeah, there's some pieces on our car that can make the car handling very, very sketchy, but it'll go fast in a straight line. And Elio's been the master of those, so he hasn't crashed yet, so that's good.
Yeah. Once again, thanks a lot for all 3 of you coming out. Really appreciate it. I was curious, as drivers, how much of the technology of the car do you need to be aware of in order to race competitively? And then sort of related to that, how much does it change year to year? How much is the technology evolving? How quickly is it evolving?
Well, I guess we stay within a certain set of regulations. So I think the technology level, we kind of have like we use things for different year periods, whether it's 3 years with a certain type of ECU or something before we get. I think next year we all get a better ECU, or whenever the new engine comes, we just get the next level of ECU and stuff like that. So the technology, it depends on how much money you have to spend. There's always more. The more money, the more things you can do, the more development you can do, and the more like simulation is obviously massive right now. As Alex said, I mean that's one of the things that teams are using a lot because of the fact that it costs 30 to 35, 40 grand to do a test day with your actual race car. Doesn't cost that much to just jump in a simulator to do some testing, and if you can get accurate data from that, then it sort of eliminates the cost of real life testing. Although for us, real life testing is way better. But yeah, it's an ever changing game, and for us, there's always new things to learn. I think more so in Formula One, there's always a lot more new things, but they also have $500 million to spend, and we're on like $8 million budgets for the year. So it's one of those things that's a little different. But I mean, your team has a lot more technology than mine, so I don't know if you have anything to add.
Oh, yeah, hi, you're here. The driver understanding of it's very important because, so say for example, you have a car that you're not happy with the entry of it. The engineer will be like, okay, well, these are the kind of 3 or 4 things that we can do to solve that. But like everything, there's a knock-on effect that will go on if you change that. So you need to understand what each thing will do and how it will change the behavior of the car and the way that you're driving it so that you choose the thing that will improve the most what your problem is, but take away the least amount somewhere else. So having an understanding of the broad scope of the engineering side of the car is important. But in terms of the actual engineering decisions, I mean, there's people with master's degrees in vehicle dynamics and engineering that are probably more qualified. But to have a full global understanding, at least the basics, is very important.
Yeah, thanks. So thanks again to all of you for coming. It's really great to be in the presence of greatness. My question is about the process of mastery, personal growth and becoming better at what you do. We, the public, get a lot of focus on the best in any field, the best showman in wrestling or the best, race finishers in racing. I'm curious to know about, what does it take to get there? Like, what was it like not being the greatest wrestler of all time and working your way towards that? Is it like focus on showmanship? Are there major difficulties along the way? Things like that?
Well, that's easy. I actually talk about this a lot if I'm doing some motivational speaking. It's first of all, you have to love what you do, and you have to believe. You have to believe in yourself if you want to sell the character. For me, like I said earlier, anything I said on TV, I was actually doing it. Probably not, the best advice for anybody because we're doing different things, but work ethic, belief in yourself, self-confidence is huge. I'm sure it is for these guys. I mean, you have to have tremendous self-confidence, but work ethic and the time they put into it. And we can sit up here and make light of things and all that, but these guys are getting ready for something that's huge, and they're driving that car, like I said, at 230 miles an hour, and that's something I can't even fathom, and I'm not making light of it. It's just something I don't even want to go on a test. Have a test car where they'll take you on. I don't even want to do it. So and don't make a joke about that to anybody. But I just
You already signed up.
Yeah,
I just did it online.
It's just work ethic, dedication, and belief in whatever you're trying to achieve. You have to really like it and want it. I mean, they didn't even at 25 years of age. I mean, Conor had to want to do this for a long time, and this is his third race there, right?
Fourth one, yeah.
Fourth at Indy. Yeah. So I mean, it's huge. That's my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm definitely no master of motorsport or anywhere near that yet. But I mean, it does take a lot of, I started when I was 10, and from basically age 10 to 14, you realize racing go-karts, only go-karts, but it's like traveling every weekend, doing a lot of different stuff. My dad raced as well, so he knew what it took, and it took everything. It takes your entire life. I missed 70 days of school a year in high school, and it was I showed up to my high school graduation, and people had no idea that I still went to the school. But it's just I didn't never went to a prom, didn't go to any of that stuff. I just all I cared about was racing, and my dad every week made sure to tell me, "Are you sure you want to do this? Because this will take every part of your life." And it's true. It's like I graduated high school, moved to London when I was 18. Lived with a friend of mine's stepdad. Like I didn't have friends over there. All it was is racetrack back home, like simulator, racetrack all the time. And that was like through all my college years. I got back to America like age 21, 22, or 22 really. And so yeah, I mean, it just takes everything. There's a lot. I missed out on college. Don't know what that's like. I see that from the internet. It looks cool, but I mean, I guess it's one of those things that people.
I was there for a year.
Yeah. Was it fun?
I don't remember.
See? Yeah, well, you have to
I
give
was
up
having
a lot.
fun.
Exactly.
Had a hard time finding my way to class, but I was there.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Is just how much are you willing to give up to succeed at something, and that's I think what comes down to it. How much time are you willing to dedicate to this goal of being a paid racing driver, which was something that isn't really that common these days. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Probably have time for two more quick questions.
So I know that regulations are incredibly important to your sport because unlike, say, most other sports which are just constrained by the performance potential of the human body, there's essentially no limit whatsoever on what technology can achieve. So I was wondering if you were the regulatory board, just the two of you, and you were able to set new standards and new changes and regulations for future years, like what would you change and why?
For me, it would be about improving the racing product, and the way to do that is because these cars generate so much downforce. The problem with that is when you're following in another car and you don't have all of the air being completely attached as you drive through it, there's a pretty big knock-on effect to the following car because all the aero is obviously about low and high pressure sensitivities and areas and how the air goes over the wings and then reattaches, creating pressure. So there's a huge amount of downforce that comes from the top of the car and not so much that comes from the bottom. And the reasons for that is because of fear of cars going too quickly, because there was a period of time in motorsports where there was blown diffusers and there was actually fans underneath cars that were sucking the cars down, and the speeds were getting a little bit out of control. But because safety has developed so far from when this existed in the mid to late 90s, there's less of a need to reduce the speeds as much as they have now. And so for me, it would be all about putting much of the downforce and aerodynamic potential on the bottom of the car so that when you're driving, you're not affected by the car in front, which means better racing, more entertainment, and something for the fans to get even more excited about. And actually, with all credit to the Verizon IndyCar Series, they are doing that, and next year's cars are doing exactly what I just kind of explained with the new aerodynamic packages, and that's very exciting to be a part of. And IndyCar is one of the few championships that I feel is really on the cutting edge of improving the racing product and having a forward-thinking vision of what they want the sport to be instead of solely being in a reactionary position like other racing championships.
Yeah, I think this. I mean, that's true. Downforce from the floor, it will improve the racing for sure on short ovals for us. I think a lot more horsepower will be awesome. I mean, race cars mid 90s, 1,000 horsepower. We only have 650, 700 on a good day, and that's a lot. That's great.
That's because you drive a Chevy.
Yeah,
bro.
I know. I was gonna say we have 650, they have 700, but it's one of those things that I think we need more. I know everyone loves, eco fuels and all that stuff, but like I would really like to see like another V12 engine blowing your ears off and laying tire tracks out of every corner with 1,200 horse. I mean, I think that would be awesome.
America.
Yeah, because I mean, 2.2 liter V6 engines aren't that exciting to me, in all honesty. So I think we're sort of on the way to also being eco-ish, but improving horsepower as well. So hopefully, I don't know, maybe they'll just
Is that the
paint
new
it
gold
eco-y.
standard of
yeah.
yeah.
They're gonna paint it green and then call it say we've got 800.
So I'm from
horsepower.
California and he's from Indiana. If
Yeah.
you didn't know.
Yeah. Sorry. More horsepower, more floor downforce, and let's go. That's all we need.
Got time for one quick question.
Yep, quick one. So I'm a big motorcycle guy. I'm from Atlanta, so there's a lot more open space.
Atlanta, check it out.
Yeah, and so I get super excited. I feel like a general badass when I'm going like 130 miles an hour, right? How do you guys translate going 230 miles an hour on race day to driving around, putzing around at like 50 miles an hour?
Well,
And
my
not get speeding
my
tickets?
Honda Pilot only does like 80. So I don't have a problem. It does 0 to 60 in 5 minutes. So it's great though, because it drives itself, which is awesome. It's like Tesla and Honda Pilots, which do that. So other than that, it's such a different environment that he actually drives slower than I do. Like
I don't. Yeah, I do. But I hate the road. Like I just hate the general public on the road.
But like when I have to go on a road trip with
infuriating.
him, I have to add I normally subtract like 25, 30 minutes from Google Maps.
I'm a rule follower.
His is like exactly what the Google Maps says
No,
it's going to be.
that's not
and you're
true.
just like, well.
Not true at all. But I am a rule follower.
Have you ever gotten a speeding ticket?
Yeah, 5.
I've
6
gotten
of
none.
them.
See, maybe you should start speeding.
See? How does that work? Jeez. I hate. Yeah. So driving on the road, very different, obviously, unless you're in some form of supercar, and which we do not own, either of us yet. I have big plans in my life, guys. Don't worry. But if I was driving a Lamborghini every day, or like, oh, man, I don't know about the laws. They would be, yeah, it's tough. Either way, I just hate driving slow. Like my foot is just always annoyed. I'd say, wouldn't you agree? Like we can't go 60 miles an hour. That's not even a thing. I have never gone 60 miles an hour, I don't think, ever on a road that has a 55 mile an hour speed limit. Have you?
What are you saying?
Like, if it's 55,
Like
you're
in a school
always
zone,
at 80.
you should definitely not be doing 60.
No, no, of course not. 48. No. All I'm saying is speed limit plus 30 is like normal, I think. Unless
think, Rick?
there are children around. What do you think? How do you drive, Rick?
Actually, I'm much better. I got put in jail one time because I had 86 moving violations over a 5-year period.
That's a lot.
And I went to
86?
Yeah, 86. Because in the old days, prior to the reciprocal agreement with states, in South Carolina, as an example, I'd get 4 tickets driving on to Charleston. Because all you do is give $20, tear it up, and throw it, and I keep going. And you could drink
Love
back
it.
then in the car.
Oh,
It's changed a lot. But anyway, I finally got busted because I got 2 going 80 in one day in North Carolina, and I had to go to court. And the judge sentenced me to 30 days, called me an habitual speeder. I mean, I went downstairs for about an hour, man, and I didn't like that. Locked up again, right? But then I went to Superior Court, and the guy he laughed at it and fined me $25. I mean, but it slowed me down. I never thought of it, but I had 3 driver's licenses: Minnesota, Florida, and North Carolina. Just every time one went down, and pulled out the other one. Oh, I know a lot about driving.
That's why he's a hero.
But I've slowed down now. Trust me. And I certainly don't drink and drive. That's the only thing I haven't done wrong. No DUIs. Yeah, that's not going to change. If I ever have beer, I'd get a ride. That's all I need. That would be all over Google. Ric Flair DUI. No, thank you.
Well, gentlemen, thank you for being here. The Indianapolis 500 will air on ABC on Sunday, May 28th at noon Eastern. The car will be here for about the next half hour if you want to take pictures with it. You cannot get in it, and please don't sit on it, but you can take pictures around it. And thanks, guys.
Thank you guys.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Yeah.
Thanks for all the respect.